Good time. We went through some things together. We sure did.
We're going to get started here in just a minute or two. Sorry, that's awfully loud. We're a couple of minutes late, but we want to be respectful of the technical college system's time. They have been so kind as to allow us to interrupt their president's meeting this week to host our House Study Committee on assessing the semester and quarter systems at USG and TCSG. And I really want to thank you, Commissioner, for allowing us to be here and meet with you guys. I think that's certainly a plus for us, and I hope that works both ways. If you don't mind, I'm going to open us up with a quick word of prayer. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to get together. Please bless these proceedings. Continue to bless those families represented here today and our state and our country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I believe, Commissioner, we're going to hand it off to you first, but if I might take a point of personal privilege, I did want to make sure we went around the table real quick and let our members introduce themselves to your team. Are you okay starting, Representative Earhart?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jenny Earhart. I serve in the Georgia State House representing District 36, which is the western portion of West Cobb. I'm proud to serve on the Higher Ed Committee. Have a real heart and passion for our college systems in Georgia. When I just told Matt Dollar, I said, you won't find probably a bigger fan of TCSG than me. Having had children and employees who both have had really, really successful outcomes from having completed programs within your fine institution.
Good morning, I'm Stacey Evans. I represent House District 57, which is parts of the city of Atlanta. Have served in a combination of terms for coming up on 11 years, hard to believe. Always had higher ed as a focus of mine, particularly access. I'm the first in my family to go to college, so that's just always been what I came there to fight for. And Representative Earhart stole my line because I am your biggest fan. Because y'all change lives, and I know that, and I appreciate what y'all do every day, and I'm proud to fight alongside you.
Good morning. I'm at USG. Can I say I'm your biggest fan? So I'm currently the interim president at the University of West Georgia, but I guess the reason I'm here is because my regular role is as the executive vice chancellor and chief academic officer of the University System of Georgia. Wonderful to be here. Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Ray Perry, and every day I'm your biggest fan.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Mike Chokus. I represent District 151, which includes Sumter, Sly, Marion, Chattahoochee, Stewart, Webster, Turrell, and parts of Doherty. My district stretches from Columbus to Albany and from the Flint River to the Chattahoochee Rivers. I am also chairman of small business development, so I've got a very keen interest in being on this committee under Chairman Blackman. And I also represent the great South Georgia Technical College. Thank you.
We're going to have a contest to see who is the biggest fan, I think. It's a bit of a homecoming for myself, but really excited to be among the presidents and the members of your team, Commissioner. I'd be remiss if you allow me a point of personal privilege. First of all, Shaw Blackman, I represent Houston County. I'm 146 in the General Assembly, but we have 3 former members of the General Assembly here, and I know that the senators are used to going first, so I won't override that rule. But we have former Senator Josh McCoon, I know, was with the system, and I wanted to acknowledge him. And one of your presidents, Senator Wilkinson, is also with us today. Really appreciate all y'all's service in the past. And then our very own Representative Matt Dollar is also with you now. So another great member, one of former seatmates of mine. So thank you all for your service. Commissioner, I think without any further ado, we'll turn it over to you to open us up with a few remarks, sir.
Yeah, well, good morning, and we are honored to have you here. So I appreciate the committee insinuating that you kind of came into our meeting, but I'll be honest with you, we feel the opposite. So just know that our presidents, our Senior Leadership Academy, that's why you see a big group. If we've worked really hard on trying to make sure that we infuse our future leaders with our current leaders. And so you have two groups here that's watching this, and you have your sitting presidents around the table here. You have our system office staff that's here to support the PC meeting, but you also have our Senior Leadership Academy, which is our third one that we've had. I'm sorry, our second one that we've had. We're about to wrap it up and start the third one. But very proud to have everybody here because the work of your committee is really hitting home to us. And as Dr. Perrin presents today, I told him and told Mark Peavy, the Chief of Staff, that this document really is going to be a historical document for our future Senior Leadership Academies, because as I went through it, I learned quite a few things. So Ray, thank you for being so proficient in your job, and when you put that together, it's just a really good overview. But we do thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your support. You guys jokingly said you're all our biggest fans, whether it was, I look at Dr. Manja sitting here. I think he was hearing y'all say it to him, and I was hearing y'all say it to me. I'm sure you were saying it to both of us. But we do feel that. And so thank you guys. When I look around this table, I can go back in my short tenure with TCSG of coming up on 5 years this January, and just think about all the support I have personally felt from each of you at this table. And that reflects each and every year at the session, but even beyond that with the work you do with our local colleges. So thank you so much for everything you do. I think I would be remiss. You mentioned a homecoming. We really appreciate that the chairman also served on the state board of TCSG, and we also have Chairman Chokas here, who led our local board of directors as a chairman, not just for South Georgia, but for the entire system. And I'm sure that Representative Evans and Representative Earhart, we know y'all support, and y'all might have served also in similar capacities. I apologize, I don't know that right off the hand, but thank you guys. We feel it, we know it, and we're here to really help answer any questions, but also navigate this as a team with USG, TCSG, with you guys. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, and I think, that's part of what we all have in common sitting in this room, is that we want to do what's best for, your students, Georgia students, and for, the entire state of Georgia and its citizenry. And I think that's the synthesis here, is that while there may be some students that benefit from maybe a different approach, that what we can do to get folks into the workforce and what we can, provide to our economic development team is something that ought to be looked at from time to time. So thank you again. And Dr. Perrin, you're going to kick us off here with a presentation from the Technical College System. For those of you that may not have seen the first meeting, we started with presentations from the university system. We were in Statesboro for that, and this is largely focused on the Technical College System. So Dr. Perrin, thank you so much.
I tee up here, Robbie to the rescue. So. Her middle name is Technical, and Robbie puts the technical in technical. So. Well, good morning. It's already been said, I'm Ray Perrin, Deputy Commissioner for Technical Education here with TCSG, and as Commissioner Dozier said, it's our pleasure to have this committee meeting with us this morning. And I'd like to share with you the background regarding our quarter to semester conversion and just show you the results of what we've experienced since we did the quarter to semester conversion. And as I speak, I'm very cognizant that I got 22 presidents sitting around here, that many of them who lived through this with us, and they will probably correct me if I get off the path, but it is a pleasure to be here today and represent them on this committee. Just to give you a little history, TCSG, when we were the Department of Technical and Adult Education, DTAE, we first broached the idea of quarter to semester conversion back in 1996. Commissioner Breeden set up a task force, and they actually came up with 14 points regarding if we did this transition, what would that transition be like? And one of the key tenets was that this transition would not harm students. That this would be something that would benefit students and that students would be able to move forward with their education, and it would not harm them financially nor time-wise. At that time, the decision was made to remain on the quarter system. Again, that's back in 1996. So in 2008, our Commissioner Ron Jackson set up another task force to reopen the idea of converting the quarters to semesters. And in December of 2009, the state board voted to officially approve that the system moved from quarters to semester. Our first semester was fall semester of 2011, which was in the annual year or fiscal year 2012. So why did we do this? At the time that we made the conversion, about 90% of higher education institutions in the country were on the semester system. And today that number exceeds 95%. But just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you should do it, right? I mean, that's one of the things my mother used to teach me when I was a young man. So why should we make this conversion? One of the things that we wanted to do was to ease transferability of our students into other institutions of higher education. And technical education is our core mission. It always will be, but more and more of our students were coming to us to get their course so they could transfer somewhere else. So it did not make sense for us to remain on the quarter system and make it difficult for them to transfer to institutions that were on the semester system. The other thing that we wanted to do was to create more opportunities for high school dual enrollment. I was a former school superintendent back in the 1990s. And back in those days, when I first started teaching in the 1980s, schools would start maybe the last week in August and they would go through the first week in June and so forth. Well, times have changed. I mean, we've got some school districts in our state now that they start their academic year July 30th. So those calendars changed drastically. And whereas in the past, a K-12 system may end their first semester the third or fourth week in January, by the time we did this, they were all in their first semester at Christmas. So they were in their first semester in December and starting their second semester in January. So for us to really put together a plan that would make it easier for these dual enrollment students to come to us, we felt like it was important to go to the semester system. So how did we do this? I mentioned just a moment ago that the state board approved this in December of 2009. We'd actually already started working on this. I don't want you to feel like we didn't do anything until December 2009, but that's when the official start. So for the next 20 months, we worked very difficult to create the semester system that we're still using today. We moved from a summer, fall, winter, and spring 10-week quarter system to a fall, spring, summer 15-week semester system. We developed college calendars emphasizing 8-week instructional blocks, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Academic year 2012 was a transition year. We actually had a summer quarter, a very short one in 2011, but that was part of that academic year. Then starting in late August of 2011, we moved to the semester system. We created a very elaborate marketing plan. We called this Q2S. People today probably still have PSD when they remember Q2S. But we had all kinds of marketing materials. We did everything we could to prepare students to let them know we're changing to the semester system. And we pushed hard to get them, those that were almost finished, to go on and finish their curriculum under the quarter system before we made the change. And just in a moment, I want to show you the enrollment. Our enrollment spiked at that time for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Great Recession was raging at the time, but we also were encouraging students to take more courses so they could finish under the quarter system to make it easier for that transition group. So this implementation plan was a busy time. Not only were we doing the quarter to semester conversion, we also officially changed our name from the Department of Technical Adult Education to TCSG about the same time, which meant a lot of new marketing materials were going out for that effort. As I've already mentioned, the Great Recession was in full force, and our enrollment had skyrocketed. We had 197,000 students in the FY 2010, which is the most we've ever had in any academic year. All of our colleges were working to be SAC-COC accredited. Our state board had set a target that we would all be regionally accredited by 2017. At the time we moved to this, 20 of the 22 current institutions were regionally accredited by SAC-COC. Now, we had more than 22 at that time. That's the other thing that was going on. We were doing mergers. We had 34 colleges and we merged into 22. And that's when I lost my hair, by the way. This was when we did that. So at the same time, Governor Perdue had set the Complete College Georgia initiative, which meant that the goal was that 60% of all adults in the state would have some sort of credential of value from a post-secondary institution, which meant that we were ramping up our degree programs and certificate programs to meet that goal. So a lot of things were happening while we were doing quarter to semester. I mean, certainly that was a major focus, but there were a lot of moving pieces going on at that time. Some of you are going to have nightmares tonight. Remember now we brought it back up. So what is the difference between a quarter and semester system? I'm trying to put this up to make a little chart for you. And the first line is the quarter system. You can see the summer semester started July, like just right after the 4th of July holiday. We would start the summer quarter, and it would go through about the middle of September. Then the middle of September we'd start fall quarter, and it would go to the end of the year. Then we'd start winter quarter. Then we start spring quarter. So when we did the semester conversion, we took the same 12 months of the calendar year, but we shifted it. Instead of beginning our year at the 1st of July, we began our academic year in the middle of August. And we did the 3 semesters, fall, spring, and summer. Some of us have been around a long time. We still have a hard time calling spring semester. You know, I still catch myself calling it winter because it starts in January. We've already talked a little bit about the pros and cons, the ease of transfer. And by the way, these pros and cons actually came from a document that we put together in 2009, 2010 when we were doing this. So some of these things have come out to be true, and some maybe not so much true. But we do know that it increased ease of transfer. We do know that it was more conducive to early and dual enrollment. It also helped us get students out in the marketplace sooner because they were graduating at the 1st of May rather than the end of June. This slide actually came, I was assistant commissioner for 1 year, and when we actually started the quarter semester. And this was a slide I actually put together back then to explain to presidents what we were doing. And this is how we originally designed it. We would have the 3 semesters, 16 weeks length. And each semester can be broken up into 8 to 2 8-week blocks to try to get more students, to be more conducive to students' needs. So that's what we originally said, but this is how it really turned out. This is really what we're doing today is we still have the 16 weeks, but there's all kinds of configurations that people have. Some of our students go the full 15-week, 16-week semester. Some take 8-week blocks. We even have some courses that are offered in 4-week blocks. So we've got a number of part-of-term courses our students are able to take advantage of. We have some that last as long as 12 weeks. So some actually overlap from the first part of term to the second part of term. So we've got a lot of different flavors of how we put courses together. And the semester system actually gave us the flexibility to do that. We would not have this flexibility that we have now under the quarter system. So we said that the reason we wanted to do this was to increase articulation, increase dual enrollment. So I wanted to share with you what we've done. Today, I'm just so excited that Dr. Mungo, we have 894 articulations between individual USG institutions, individual TCSG institutions. If people come to you and say that we're not articulating, we absolutely are articulating. Again, you know, hundreds of them. And every institution in USG except for Georgia Tech, and we're working really hard on them. Yeah, we've got an articulation agreement with them, so we've got tons of articulation. So the one thing I want this committee to know is that our two agencies do work very closely together to provide seamless pathways and seamless opportunities for students across this state. These articulations, I'm not saying they couldn't have happened under the quarter system, but they would not be likely to have happened to the extent that they are now. We also, not long after we converted to the semester system, We built a statewide articulation with the university system where we have 28 courses that if a student takes at one of our institutions, it transfers to a USG institution. Dual enrollment has skyrocketed since we did the semester conversion. There are a lot of reasons for that, but certainly the semester system helped enable that growth in dual enrollment. And our students have really gravitated to this part of term offering. I'll show you a chart on this in a moment. But the fiscal year, the academic year we just ended, almost 50% of our students took at least one part of term course. So our students have gravitated to this, and we've helped them meet their life needs by having this scheduling matrix. I mentioned the 28 courses. This is the 28 courses. A lot of times people talk about the 28, but they don't know what they are. This is them. So wanted you to have this for your records so you can see this. And also this is the matrix of all those articulations I told you about. So again, 894 between the USG and TCSG. So I've already said, but I'll say it again, please don't let anyone tell you that we're not working together, because we absolutely are. We're also excited about the work we're doing with Georgia's independent colleges. We have 59 courses that transfer between the independent colleges and TCSG. Now, all the independent colleges don't teach all 59 courses, but if they do teach them, these courses are courses that will transfer. We also have an agreement of admission where any student who graduates from a TCSG institution with an associate degree with at least 2.5 GPA is automatically admitted into one of Georgia's independent colleges. They were doing Georgia Match before we were, that they were automatically admitting students into their colleges. And this is the list of the colleges that participate with this agreement of admission. And you can see it's everything from Agnes Scott to Young Harris and everyone in between. Really about the only one that doesn't pop up on this list is Emory. But just about every other private college in the state is part of this agreement. So we're very, very excited about this. And again, I don't want to say that we couldn't have done this under the quarter system, but not nearly as likely to have done it under the quarter system to the extent that we are now. I mentioned to you dual enrollment. Again, this chart speaks volumes. After we made the conversion to the semester system, dual enrollment skyrocketed. And again, there are a lot of reasons for that. The state started putting more emphasis on dual enrollment. There's more funding behind it. And I get all of that. But it probably would not have taken off to the extent that it did if we were still under the quarter system, because students would not have been able to register with us. You can't, again, put on my old high school principal hat, you can't have a student sitting in class from August 1st to September 15th doing nothing, waiting for the technical college to start their fall quarter. So this would not have happened had we not moved to the semester system. And you can see the little blip there in 2021. That, of course, is due to COVID primarily, but it's also House Bill 444 kicked in that year. But as you can see, we've completely recovered from COVID, and last year we had a record number of dual enrollment students. In terms of students who enrolled in parts of term, by parts of term, this is anything short of 12 weeks in the fall and spring semesters, and anything 4 weeks or less in summer semester. And I'll talk more about summer in just a minute. But you can see almost 2/3 of our students in fall semester last year took at least one part of term course. And over half of our students spring semester did the same. I could have almost put summer semesters 100% because our colleges, for the most part, teach 8 to 10 week summer sessions. I don't know of any of them that teach a full 16-week summer session. That there's a lot of parts of term. So I could have technically said summer is 100% part of term, but using the definition, we did not. So again, the part of terms have been very, very successful for us. And I want to emphasize that because that means we've got students enrolling, graduating, going to work constantly through the calendar year. People aren't waiting until May to get a job. They can get a job in February if they finish their program with us and get into the workforce. Other considerations, typically technical college enrollment drops during a strong economy, and it rises when the economy is not strong. And I mentioned the Great Recession a few moments ago, and that was our record enrollment. Of course, the economy was horrible at that time, and our enrollment skyrocketed. And then when the economy got better, our enrollment started to drop. But in the late teens, even though the economy was still strong, our enrollment started picking up, and we're very, very happy to report that. And we think that there's a lot that contributes to that, but certainly this flexibility and scheduling that we have, meeting people's needs, has contributed to that. In terms of graduation, our students are completing these programs. After an initial dip, our graduation rates have far outpaced our enrollment growth rate. Our unduplicated graduates have increased over almost 17% since we did the quarter to semester conversion. Annual certificates awarded have increased 71%. Associate degrees have increased by over 50%. Students are able to enroll in in-demand programs, and which means that once they finish, they're going to work. For the past 9 years now, our graduate placement rates have exceeded 99%. Our infill placement rate for the past 3 years, we've hit all-time records, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And the Complete College Georgia initiative that I've shared with you earlier, we will exceed the goal that we set back in 2008 by next year. So we're very, very excited about that. Again, this is a snapshot of TCSG's annual enrollment since 1990, fall of 1999. And as you can see, it peaked during the Great Recession and dropped, and then, of course, we were on the rise, and then COVID hit, and we dipped again, and we're currently on the rise, and are experiencing great growth, which continues into this semester as well. Fall semester, which is typically our largest one since the conversion, you can see that now we have more students today than we did the first the first semester that we were on semester. So enrollment certainly has grown. In terms of graduates, again, it peaked during the Great Recession. As we got all those students through our programs, they were all completing up, so graduates peaked and then dropped, but then it's been a steady increase since the Great Recession. And we're finalizing graduate numbers from last year now, and we will have an all-time record high number of graduates with nearly 41,000 unduplicated graduates coming out of our system. And by the way, since 1999, we've put in 750,000 graduates that are in Georgia's workforce today that came from a TCSG institution. In terms of the awards, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but just know that our awards have continued to rise since we did quarter to semester conversion. Graduate placement has been very, very strong because our programs are really matching the workforce needs across the state. As I mentioned just a moment ago, all-time record high infill placement rate of over 92.5%. And again, just strong indication that our programs are on target, our students are getting jobs. Did the semester system cause all this? I can't stand here and say that, but I can say that it helped enable all these things to happen. And again, I mentioned Complete College Georgia, and you can see that we're only 7,500 graduates away from hitting that term with a year to go, and we're putting out 40,000 graduates a year, so we will blow that target away. We're excited to be on the semester system now. Can I say that we were excited when we did it? Probably not. It was a difficult lift, but we see the benefits. The things that we said would happen. We said that it would increase our ability to transfer. You saw the data up there. It did. We said it would increase our dual enrollment participation. You can see that it skyrocketed, and you can see that it allowed us to have flexibility in scheduling, which allowed people to get in, get out, and get a job. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I'd be happy to sit down. So.
Any questions, Representative Evans?
Thank you, Dr. Perrin. You were talking about the agreement of admission situation that you have with a lot of the private colleges. Do you have anything like that with any of the USG institutions, or are we working toward that?
We do. We have several. We signed an agreement back in April, May with Augusta University for a statewide agreement on cybersecurity. We have an agreement with the College of Coastal Georgia for students who graduate with an AAS from more institutions can enter one of their BAS programs. We also have an umbrella agreement with Gordon College where basically any of our graduates, Gordon College has put together a pathway where they can continue their education within. So we had that with those three institutions. And even though an individual USG institution beyond those three may not have statewide agreements. I want to emphasize again, every one of these presidents will tell you we've got great relationships with their local USG institution, and we have a number of articulations with them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have a couple, Dr. Perrin, if you don't mind. You may have covered it and I missed it, but do we know you said most of the utility is in that 8 weeks cycle up underneath the semester system? Do you have a mix of what, what percentage is 4, 8, 16, that kind of thing?
I can pull that. We do have that data, Chairman, but I don't have it off the top of my head. But the same data I used to put that slide together, it is built in there, so we can get that.
Okay.
And we do have a lot of different flavors. I know Gwinnett Tech did a program with DOAS where they were teaching a 4-week program in Glen. Yeah, AWS, Amazon Cloud. So that's just one example. Our truck driving programs, a lot of those are 5-week across the state. So we're able to actually do 3 5-week terms within a semester with truck driving. Our law enforcement academies are like 12 weeks. So again, there's just a broad range of options that our students have. And again, moving to the semester system allowed us to have that flexibility.
Well, speed was certainly part of the package, as I always recall. Quality accompanied with, speed. And I think with the accolades received with Quick Start operating up under TCSG last week, I mean, that speaks to that as well, I'm guessing, right? So appreciate what y'all have done there. I was going to also ask, you had a slide that talked about articulation. And I know one of the things that, as you mentioned today, and I kind of recall from being there, is that was part of the big impetus for trying to switch. Do you know what the before and afters were on some of those courses? I mean, I think obviously you've made strides.
Certainly we can go back and dig up the before. I can tell you the after, and this is getting information from the USG website. Any given year, they bring in about 4,000 to 4,500 of our graduates into USG. And just put that perspective, most years we have about 7,000 to 8,000 associate degree graduates. So usually at least half of those are going to USG to enroll, through this articulation that we have with them. I don't have the exact numbers, but we can find those.
I was just trying to go back in my mind, the 28 course statewide articulation. It seems like we were working pretty well prior to. Is that, what would be a cap there? I mean, like if we were to say this is utopia, we wanted this many.
Well, I don't know that you can put a number on it, but I think that there's some courses, and Dr. Mung and I've talked about this before, that we would like to continue to explore expanding those things such as anatomy and physiology that our students take. We think is a good candidate. And one of the presidents yesterday mentioned to me even Spanish, that we teach. So we think that there are a number of other opportunities that we can explore, and USG has been great with talking with us and working towards expanding that. In fact, we sent a list, Dr. Hornsby, several months back with a request for them to evaluate a number of other courses that maybe we can add to that 28 list, because we do believe there's some opportunities to expand that. Doctor?
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Only thing I'd like to add to that is I think some of our discussions and hopes of the future would be not just classes, but are there pathways? And that's something that we've talked about, and hope that from a statewide level, we have that at the college to college level, but is there pathways at the statewide level that we feel real confident in? And so that's some of that work that as you navigate, and it gets complex because, whether it's an AS degree or an AAS degree. And so there's things there that when you look at that 28 from the state level, there's opportunities that we hope in the future we can find beyond those 900 plus articulations at the lower level. And I think that just helps all of us. When you look at the 4,000 that are transferring in, it just opens up that opportunity. We were very blessed yesterday. Both USG and our independent college has been so great. We were very blessed yesterday to kind of have the presidents meet with Mercer. And Mercer and the presidents here mapped every single allied health program that we have to every allied health program Mercer has. So those are some of those kind of statewide things that give confidence to the students and the people that if we do this, this is what will happen, because the studies have shown that the biggest barrier for a student of a two-year institution is not the academic side. Dr. Perrin mentioned the data that USG has. About 4,000 of our students end up in their system, and academically they've been equally successful as those students in their system. The biggest hurdle when you start looking at the research is just the barriers. So if there is more articulation we can do, it helps those two-year students who navigate to USG or independent colleges to feel completion and actually see the opportunity that they're not being penalized. And so very thankful for our partnership. We've had discussions since Dr. Mon just come on a couple of years ago, and Chancellor's been very open to those. So there are opportunities, and we hope to see those.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions, committee members? Yes, Dr. Mon.
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce our collaboration, which has been excellent. And thank you, Dr. Perrin, for mentioning the individual articulations, because one thing in the university system is we've got 4 different sectors, right? So research, comprehensive, state universities, and state colleges. And so sometimes the needs of individual institutions vary, and that's why I was really pleased to see that number. I knew it was in the hundreds, but thank you for mentioning 394. But it is an area in which we should keep working and make sure we keep collaborating as we have been. I did want to ask you one question, Dr. Perrin. So when we did our research, one of our big positives that we found was in terms of the cost savings, given fewer admission cycles and then, all the processes that go through it. Did you get any sense from TCSG when the switch happened, if there were savings in that?
I probably should be able to articulate that, and I don't know that I can. There were a lot of moving pieces going on at that time. The Great Recession had caused significant budget cuts for us at that time anyway, so it's hard to say were the savings due to the budget cuts or they due to move into the semester system. I can tell you that it has saved students under the quarter system, and traditionally technical college students come all year round. Now that's not to say that 100% of them are all year round, but when we're on the quarter system, traditionally most of our students were with us 4 quarters, which meant they were paying tuition 4 times. They're paying fees 4 times. Now it's 3 times. So if nothing else, they're saving on the fees that they're paying. In the tuition, when we made the transition, we used the formula to equate it, so it was basically the same tuition rate, just converted from quarter hours to semester hours. So we know that we saved along those terms, and in terms of recruitment cycles, certainly there's the big 6 or the big 3, as you said, but also our colleges are very active right now recruiting for second part of term for this semester. We'll have a number of students come in the first week, second week of October, so our colleges are actively recruiting for those students now. So again, I don't know that I can articulate an exact percentage that we saved. Certainly there's some savings from there, but I think the big thing is that it strengthened our financial position because our enrollment grew so much because of the flexibility that the semester system provided. So.
Anything? Any follow-up there? You good? Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Perrin. I appreciate that presentation. Very informative.
Absolutely.
And I know we have a list of fine college presidents left on the schedule, so I want to give them plenty of time. Next one being our president, Dr. Ivan Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Thanks for testifying with us here today.
Mr. Chairman, actually, I am not going to be the one testifying. The Commissioner gave a fantastic intro about the importance of our senior leadership, our Executive Leadership Academy, and those who are coming behind us to make Georgia even stronger. And so Central Georgia Tech believes strongly that we need to be supporting these individuals and pushing them forward. And one of the best ways to do that is to bring one of our own, our Associate VP, Dr. Alvin Harmon, is going to actually give this presentation. He is closer to the students than I am. He is closer in working with the faculty in this. Dr. Manga said, he talked about those different sectors within USG. Here is the beauty of having Dr. Harmon give this presentation. Before he came to TCSG, he received training all the way up through a PhD in biochemistry from our university system, but then he worked in both an access institution in the university system at Atlanta Metro State College, and then at a research university at Georgia State University. And so here is a person who has worked in the technical college system and who has seen it from the other side at both an access USG institution and a research university. And so I believe he has a unique perspective to share with the members of this committee, and I will yield my time to him. I've made a couple of requests of him. Chairman Blackman, we go back a long way, so you'll understand this comment. Many years ago, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five made a song called 5 Minutes of Funk. And so I've asked him to be very efficient with his time today and with your time. Mr. Chairman, it is always a pleasure to see you. Other members of the committee, thank you so much for believing in this system, but even more, thank you so much for believing in our students. They are the Georgians who are hardworking, who believe that if they will go out and use the sweat of their brow to strengthen them, that they too can contribute to the economy in Georgia and make us the strongest state in this union. Dr. Harmon, please.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me say, in keeping with what Dr. Allen just stated, I'm gonna make sure I keep this short. Excuse me if my passion becomes overbearing, because I really enjoy what we get to do in the technical college system of Georgia. It's a good day every day, and so I really, really enjoy that. But what I want to do is talk about the benefits of the semester system, demonstrate how we're able to do this at Central Georgia Technical College, and piggyback on some of the things that Dr. Perrin mentioned in regards to this conversion and how it lets us meet our mission statement. So I won't go into depth about the mission statement, but what I will say in summary, we're able to provide technical education, adult education, economic development, as well as WorkSource Georgia Career Services. And so I'll come back to the mission statement as I go through this presentation to talk about how the actions that we do every day at Central Georgia Technical College allow us to fulfill this mission. Briefly, Central Georgia Technical College, we are a part of an 11-county service area in Central Georgia. In the fall of 2023, we had over 10,700 students. We had 3,800 graduates and awarded 6,000 credentials. Our engagement rate for that year was about 2.94%. We serve students from over 131 Georgia counties, as well as 31 states. Now let me pause here. Our focus is our 11-county service area. Students reach out to us and they seek to enter into Central Georgia Technical College, and we welcome them with open arms. But our focus remains our 11-county service area in providing these different services. And I'll also come back as we progress and talk about those Georgia counties. So, what are the benefits of this semester system? It gives us additional entry points. It allows for greater flexibility. We're able to offer accelerated programs, adult education opportunities, as well as we have a major impact on dual enrollment. Now, I want to go into each of these just a little bit. Dr. Perrin mentioned the different parts of term. In this particular slide, we're able to see how that looks. So let's be very specific. A student enters, they enter into the 15-week semester. However, students may wish to engage in one of our accelerated programs. Nurse aid, phlebotomy. we're able to actually do those programs in a 7.5-week format. And so we actually have 6 entry points specifically. During that 15-week fall term, we have session 1 and session 2. That gives us 2 entry points. Spring, session 1 and session 2, again, an additional 2 entry points. And then in the summer, we have a 9-week as well as an 8-week session. That gives 6 different entry points. Now, as an access institution, we get to serve everyone who enters into our institutions. These different parts of term, they allow students to take courses perhaps at a slower pace. However, we also have the 15-week term, so students can also take them slower just based on the information. And for students who need to enter into the workforce more rapidly, they have the 7.5-week option. So a major benefit of this semester system is there are multiple entry points in which we can go back and fulfill our mission, workforce development, community development, and do it at a way that meets the student where that student actually may be academically, socially, or economically, and we provide hope for that student. In terms of greater flexibility, quarter system, there are 4 quarters. In our semester, we have 3 semesters and again, multiple entry points. Now, we offer our courses in a traditional face-to-face format, in an online format, as well as a hybrid format. And we can do this not only in the 15-week, we can also do this in the 7.5-week term. Accelerated programs. I'm going to talk a little bit more as we progress about Georgia's Vector Center, as well as the CGTC Academy, which represents our dual achievement program, as well as our Career Plus High School program. However, we can offer accelerated programs in these 2 formats. And as Dr. Perrin mentioned, the commercial truck driver, in a 15-week session, we're able to offer 3 cohorts. With the increase of the traffic that's coming through Georgia's ports, we need more CDL drivers, and we're able to help Georgia fulfill that mission in terms of workforce development, moving those goods and getting them to market, getting them to the consumer. And so this semester system, multiple entry points, specifically that flexibility, we get to see that, and commercial truck driving is one way we actually observe this. In the summer, we have many sessions, and we have transferable coursework. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress. So Georgia's Vector Center. Let me first say thank you to the state legislature for your support for our Georgia Vector Center. We get to work with our veterans about 180 days prior to them moving back to the civilian role. We're able to provide training through Skill Bridges USA. We have a variety of different programs such as HVAC and Cisco, but we also have aviation and aircraft assembly, electronic technician, logistics management, A1 enhanced robotic, and recently we've started orthopedic technology, which has been one of the charges Dr. Allen has given to us in terms of, let's find a healthcare pathway. These veterans then can come to the Vector Center at no cost to that veteran. We provide housing for the veteran, and they're able to get an additional set of skills so that when they move back to the civilian workforce, they can easily transition into some of the roles. Central Georgia Technical College was the first college to have a Vector Center. What I'm most happy and excited about, we're not the only one in the system, nor plans for additional ones. There's another Vector Center at Chattahoochee Technical College with plans for Albany Technical College and Columbus Technical College to also examine whether or not they may offer a Vector Center. And so we get to serve veterans of America. We get a well-disciplined individual to consider coming to Georgia, individuals who will do very well for our workforce, contribute positively to our economy, but also, most importantly, our community. So again, thank you so much for your support of Georgia veterans as well as our Vector Centers. And so how does it work? About 180 days prior to that enlisted member leaving the military, they're able to engage in one of the Skill Bridge USA programs, receive training so that when they leave the military, they have skills to move in a specific workforce area or arena that they may find of interest. The CGTC Academy. I stated that at the beginning, working in the technical college system is good every day. Every day is a good day. One of the things that we do is we also provide hope One major example of that is with our dual achievement program and our Career Plus High School. There are so many individuals, for whatever reason there may be, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, high school just did not work out. They were not able to, for whatever reason, complete high school. With our dual achievement program, these individuals can come to Central Georgia Technical College, take several classes, as well as gain certificates that not only give them a high school diploma, but it lets them move into the workforce. If they're older than 21 years old, we have our Career Plus High School, where they can do the exact same thing. What we're doing then is we're giving Georgians hope. And we're showing how this semester system allows us to provide this opportunity for all members of our Georgia community. And so this really feels good. One of those other examples of really feeling good of what we do, but most importantly, a benefit of the semester system and how we utilize that semester system to meet the needs of students who enter into our doors. Other things we offer, and I want to stress here, our accelerated nurse aid and our accelerated phlebotomy courses. We have a large number of students who seek this role entering into the health field, in part because we know that there are so many job opportunities in healthcare. And what is really good here, that nurse aid and phlebotomy serves as a springboard for that student who may want to go on and become a surgical technologist or a radiology technologist, or complete the prerequisite courses to complete their Associate of Science degree in nursing, or even enter into a practical nursing program. Prerequisites are not required in that particular situation. But again, going back, what are the benefits of the semester system to us? We're able to offer accelerated programs, meet students where high school, for whatever reason, it just did not work out as they would have liked the first time, and provide them a pathway to not only enter into the workforce, but to be positive members of Georgia's community. Dual enrollment. As we can be more proud of our dual enrolled students. We are each year trying to increase that number. We are working to help students identify what is their career pathway. And two things that come out of our dual enrollment students, especially if they take courses other than just general ed, they get to find out, is a health career, as an example, really for me? Or they get to find out, is a health career not for me? And we've got another opportunity. Perhaps we can move them to trade and industry. Perhaps we can share with them cybersecurity. In addition, what was mentioned, Dr. Perry stated transfer students. We have more and more students who are entering into our institutions, and they're not so much interested in a certificate. They're interested in getting more general education courses before they transfer. We provide an opportunity where there are smaller class sizes, committed faculty, and students do not have to pay a lot for quality education. So they get the opportunity to mature academically. They get the opportunity to mature socially. Our sister institution, Middle Georgia State University, that's where many of, or most students transfer from Central Georgia Technical College. In 2023, students who were enrolled either fall, spring, or summer, we had over 350 students who transferred to Middle Georgia State University. And we're working with them now on another initiative to be more intentional, to be more deliberate about those who seek to transfer. And it still allows us to fulfill our mission, albeit in just a slightly different way, but it's still community and workforce development. And it's most importantly supporting Georgia's workforce. So with our dual enrollment program, we also have dual enrollment study abroad, as well as articulation agreements. Of course, we have those with the University System of Georgia, but also Georgia's Independent College Association, as well as other individual institutions. And so let's pause here. The semester system, what is a benefit? It allows for these dual enrollment students that when they finish high school, they can immediately move into a summer session with us. If they seek to do a study abroad program, the semester system allows for that to occur during the summer. Also, while they're in class, the semester system aligns with the seat time that is required for students in high school. So it's much more seamless for students. And by passing that one college class in high school, perhaps that student that never thought about going to college realizes, hey, I made it out of English. I made it out of history with a passing grade, perhaps that student may realize there are post-secondary options, and they may seek those options in Central Georgia Technical College and any of the technical college system institutions. We welcome them with open arms, and we're there to help them meet those goals. So let's pause. I mentioned we offer adult education, technical education, economic development, and WorkSource Georgia in terms of meeting our mission statement. And so with the semester system, greater flexibility, multiple entry points, accelerated programs, adult education, as well as dual enrollment. These are the benefits of that system, specifically the semester system for us, and it allows us to continue to fulfill our mission. With that being said, questions, questions, questions.
We're quiet today. Any questions? Dr. Allen, Commissioner, do you mind if I ask a question or two of President Allen? I mean,
I hope you ask a lot of hard ones, Mr. Chairman.
I've got a couple of, no, I imagine this is still true of just about, or probably every single president in their respective areas, but he's certainly a rock star in Middle Georgia and Central Georgia Tech. We absolutely love having him as our president down there, and I know he means a lot to not just our area, but the state and our country. As a former chairman, is this correct, or president of SACS?
Chairman.
Yeah, chairman of SACS.
Don't put that out there about being the president. She's retiring.
Apologies. We have kind of, come of age together a little bit, but some of our discussions, I was just curious. I mean, apparently the calendar alignment is extremely important and has been very beneficial. At looking at other states, assuming we're not number one as far as, turnaround time from, entering college and graduating, is there anything that we could be doing as a state to get to number one if we're not? And based on the little bit of anecdotal conversation, I think, there's always room for improvement.
In terms of improvement, we're talking about it today, and I think your leadership in this committee demonstrates a commitment to keep looking at what can we do better. That's continuous improvement. Look, there are states around us who have been fairly aggressive around this idea of articulation and transfer. And as we see South Carolina enter an era where any of their technical college or community college graduates can go into a place like Clemson without question. That is about competition. That is about preparing the Palmetto State to have more of a competitive edge in the South with attracting industry, with keeping the best and the brightest in the Palmetto State. And here in the Peach State, we just have to keep working at that. And I want to commend Dr. Manga and all of our friends at USG for looking at this seriously. But that's the highbrow political answer. You know me well enough to tell you I'm going to give you the other answer too, and that is when we look at hardworking Georgians, the individual students, they deserve better. They deserve for us to look at it all the time. How do we make it better? How do we become more efficient in moving those students in career ladders to give them the opportunity to enter middle class, upper middle class, and to chase their dreams? Why would we tell a student, you have paid Georgia once for a course and we want you to pay Georgia again for a course? That is inefficient, and it is just a burden on those who are trying to get where they see us. And I think as we get serious and more serious and more serious about giving people pathways and ladders to success, we must practice the governmental efficiency that we all long for. And that is to find ways to cut red tape, to stop talking about some kind of, and listen, I worked in the university system. Dr. Harmon worked in the university system. I started 32 years ago at a university system institution. So I've worked in all three, university, DOE, and technical college. We have to cut red tape and make it possible for Georgians to move as quickly as efficiently as their talent will take them to get into the workforce with a sustainable wage that takes care of their family. And then when we have these debates about the social safety net and taxpayers and raising taxes or lowering taxes, you know, those are all, we talk about that stuff. But people in our neighborhoods over in the States, as they call it behind Northside High School, they don't talk about that stuff. They talk about, how do I feed my kid today? How do I make the choice between buying my medicine or my groceries? And they don't have time for all this. We need to go study it for 3 years. The models are out there where we can be more aggressive in ensuring efficiency in a matriculant's journey. And I applaud you, I applaud our university system partners and others for taking a realistic look at how do we become more efficient with limited tax dollars to let Georgians have the best shot at being successful. And so we look at a model like, we're doing great, we can do better. I don't want to go too far into that diatribe. I just wanted to make those points because remember, those outside of this room don't see this. You know, we're in a House Study Committee. Man, that's big stuff. I know you a long time. I don't think our parents thought we would have been doing stuff like this. At least when I was in the mud back on Gateway Avenue, my mom and dad, they didn't think I'd be doing this. But look, here we are in a House Study Committee. Other people don't see it that way. They're going, why did I take a class at Gwinnett Tech, one of the leading organizations, institutions in the state, and I got to pay for that class again when the teacher from the other place was an adjunct at Gwinnett Tech and we used the same book. We're using the same teacher, the same book. So we have to find efficiency for Georgians. This isn't about me or any of that other stuff. That's about them. And if we keep it about them, we will win. So those are some ways I think we got to continue to work toward getting better every day. I'm sorry. And I have to make one point. Wasn't Dr. Harmon? Dr. Harmon was great. And one other point, there's a lady in this room named Dr. Janet Kelly. Stand up. Dr. Janet Kelly is another one of our associate VPs. She actually put the presentation together and just made the two of us look good. And so I like to always give the credit where it's due. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Is there anything I need to do? I really want to sit down because I've said too much and I know I'm going to get a whipping for it later. Not from the commissioner, but somebody's mad somewhere. That usually happens when I talk.
Well, obviously, those are the kind of points that, we're looking for. That's why we're doing this. We want to hear what the news is on the ground, and it's good news. It's largely good news, but we also want to know how we can continuously improve, as you mentioned, and I saw a lot of heads nodding at the things that you were saying. So thank you very much, Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
All right, who is next on the agenda? I believe Dr. Watford, President of South Georgia Technical College.
Mr. Chairman, as Dr. Watford comes up, just a PSA. One of the terms that was used in Dr. Harmon's presentation was DAP, the Dual Achieve Program. Just a reminder to the committee, you guys passed legislation to give us the authority to have 5 pilot high schools. That's what the DAP program is. It's been wildly successful and something we're extremely proud of. You may see legislation this year to take that pilot off. So I just wanted you to be aware of that as we go into this session, that we believe the success of that program will warrant a look at to see if we can remove that pilot. So as we transition, I just want to connect some dots on something you may see come January. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And greetings from South Georgia Technical College. I know y'all are disappointed that y'all aren't going to get to come have your meeting on our campus tomorrow like was originally planned, but Callaway Gardens is not a bad substitute, is it?
Thank you for letting us call an audible. We apologize for having to do that. We would love to be there.
Well, we were certainly looking forward to y'all coming, but you're always welcome. South Georgia Tech has been around since 1948, and before I talk about quarter to semester, I have to frame the discussion a little bit about our college, as the other presenters have. We are one of the 2 oldest, or the first two technical colleges in Georgia. North Georgia Tech and South Georgia Tech were the first two. John says North Georgia Tech started in 1492 when Columbus came over, and we started in 1948, but we're still... but no, we have a lot of fun with that. But seriously, I do want to echo my colleagues and say thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. I do not know what it's like to be a president of a college and not get the full support of our legislators, and great relationship with Mike and the other legislators that support the region that we serve. We do serve 7 rural counties in South Georgia, and our total population amongst those 7 counties is 80,000. That's the smallest service delivery area population of all the technical colleges. But you know what? The young people on those dirt roads in Marion County and Webster County deserve just as much opportunity as the individuals in Metro Atlanta. And so we appreciate what you do, not just for South Georgia Tech, but for all the technical college system. We certainly feel your support. So to frame this discussion, we are one of the first 2 technical colleges in Georgia. Our campus sits on the grounds where a former Army Air Corps training facility started in 1917. So we have the moniker of being the oldest continually serving aviation maintenance instruction delivery site in North America, because since 1917, in some way, shape, or form, we've had aviation maintenance trained on our campus or on those grounds. Of course, World War I, 1917, World War II, the Royal Air Force was trained on our campus. Too dangerous in Great Britain for cadets to fly because France was already occupied and the German pilots would shoot them down. So they'd ship them over to America, and they were trained in Americus, Georgia, and Dothan, Alabama. So a lot of good history there. And leading into the discussion that we're going to talk about, there's 2, I'm sure you can't see it in that black and white picture, but there's 2 hangars that were built in 1938. Now I know that says 1917, but that picture was actually taken in the late 40s. But there are 2 hangars on our campus that were built in 1938, prior to World War II. And that's where our John Deere program and our Caterpillar program are today. That's 86 years. So as far as being good stewards of state resources, I feel like we're hanging on. We are the largest, or have the moniker of having the largest diesel enrollment in the state, even though we're one of the smaller colleges, because of the generic diesel program, the Caterpillar program, and the John Deere program. So in 2001, we became an official Think Big program for Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar has Think Big programs all over the world where they have locations at colleges and universities where they have their technicians trained. And rather than having me tell you about that, we have a little 2 or 3 minute video where we've got our instructors telling you how that program works. So if you would just watch this video.
South Georgia Technical College is powered by partnerships like the collaboration with Caterpillar and John Deere to train both companies' service technicians across Georgia and the Southeast.
We're pulling students from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina.
We cover basically the whole southeast of the United States. Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina is kind of our region we pull.
The Caterpillar Heavy Equipment Dealer Service Technology Program offers 2 career paths. Heavy equipment techs work on CAT's earth-moving machines, while electric power generation techs service CAT's energy systems. The John Deere Agriculture Technology Program prepares students to service John Deere equipment at their sponsoring dealership. To enroll in either program, students must have a high school diploma or equivalent and be sponsored by partner Caterpillar or John Deere dealer.
The way our program works is a partnership program between the school, the Caterpillar corporate, and our local dealers.
So the student has to be sponsored by the local John Deere dealer for the 2-year process to get their 2-year degree here at South Georgia Tech.
Students in the Caterpillar and John Deere programs begin in the fall semester with 8 weeks of classroom and lab training on the South Georgia Technical College campus. followed by an 8-week paid internship at their sponsoring dealerships. The process repeats each semester for the duration of the 2-year program.
When you leave here, you're going to leave here with an associate's degree. You're going to leave here with a job, not just a job, but a good job. Job that you can truly make a career out of.
So far we've had over 100 students through the program. Once the program is over, they will be full-time with their dealer after graduation.
With this program, you're actually hired as soon as you graduate, and while you're learning and going through your apprenticeships, you'll be getting paid as well.
Yeah, EPG field is extremely high demand. They cannot find enough candidates right now to even put in the EPG program, so the candidates that I have, they go out, they're guaranteed a job 100%, and they go right to work.
If you're looking for a career that's going to keep you busy the rest of your life, and you have absolutely no fear of being able to work the rest of your life doing something, this is probably one of the best fields to be in right now.
South Georgia Technical College, powered by partnerships and leading the way in workforce development for Southwest Georgia and beyond.
So we're very proud of this partnership, and I wanted you to hear it straight from the instructors. This partnership brings a lot to our college and a lot to Georgia. And you may say, well, you know, these are individuals coming from different states taking advantage of Georgia's great technical college system. But for one thing, Yancey and our John Deere dealers, which there's too many to name really in Georgia, have the largest quantity of students in this program. But they negotiate with each other how many spots they get. And I don't know if you picked up on it in the video, but the students are hired when they come to South Georgia Tech. Now, our mission is workforce development, and we never waver from that. These students are already hired. They're recruited by John Deere and CAT. We train them. John Deere and CAT provides us the curriculum, the supplies, most of the supplies, the equipment. We have several $1 million of borrowed equipment from John Deere and CAT. We have brand new dozers with the plastic seal on the seats, brand new excavators, motor graders on our campus that are the 2024 models. And whenever those models are no longer in use, CAT comes and gets those and replaces them with the latest thing, which still has the plastic on the seats. And our students get to train on those. Same thing with John Deere. Brand new equipment. Now, yeah, they do give us a lot of old equipment too. We just got 11 engines from CAT last semester that they called and said, if you'll send one of your truck drivers up here to pick them up in Illinois, we'll give you 11 engines with the engine stands. And engine stands are expensive too, by the way, if they don't come with a vehicle. They contribute to our foundation. They train our instructors. When there's a new procedure or process, those instructors go to Peoria and Moline, if it's John Deere, and learn from John Deere and CAT trainers. Now, how does that relate to the quarter to semester system discussion? Well, as I said, this program began with Caterpillar in 2001. Obviously, we were under the quarter system in 2001. CAT supplied the shell curriculum. Of course, we modified the curriculum to meet the local dealers' needs, but the curriculum was a semester curriculum. It was also a degree curriculum, which at that time we were not accredited yet by SAC-COC. We were accredited by the Commission on Occupational Education, but we were not an associate degree offering institution. So there were a myriad of problems or challenges that we had to overcome. We had to create special schedules and cohorts just for those partnership students to take their English and psychology, all their core classes, math, because those classes needed to be on their semester schedule, even though we are in the quarter system. Under the quarter system, these students go, as the instructor said, 8 weeks on site at South Georgia Tech, and then they go to their respective dealers for the second 8 weeks for their internship, and they do that back and forth for 2 years until they complete their associate degree. Well, under the quarter system, they would have to withdraw because the second 8 weeks was another quarter. So they would go 8 weeks of a 10-week quarter, withdraw, which if you've worked in admissions or in a Student Services Department to have a whole class of students to have to completely withdraw and then re-register and re-enroll every other semester or every other quarter, it was a nightmare. It was a logistics nightmare, not just with financial aid, but everything else. So that was a problem. So for 2 weeks of a quarter, since it was an 8-week on site, then we had those rooms empty. And we're losing revenue when that happens. So when we transitioned from quarter to semester in 2011, they no longer had to withdraw because they get to come every semester now. They come, if you're in the class that starts in the first 8 weeks of the semester, then you're always going to start the first 8 weeks of every semester. And if you're in the class that starts the second 8 weeks, then you're in the class that starts the second 8 weeks of every semester for 2 years. We also get to serve 2 classes of students per semester, which is a benefit to us as a college. We can basically double the number of students that we serve through CAT and John Deere for that purpose. A lot of people say, well, how does CAT and John Deere coexist? Because they are competitors. They do. The students work well together, but they don't matriculate together. We have them in completely separate buildings. They, as you saw, they have separate instructors. We have 3 Caterpillar full-time instructors, 2 full-time John Deere instructors, and 2 full-time generic diesel instructors. So we employ 7 full-time diesel instructors at South Georgia Tech. And to be the smallest technical college enrollment-wise, that's a large number of full-time instructors. But because of the need for them to feel comfortable training our instructors with their materials and curriculum and so forth, then we want CAT and John Deere to feel comfortable with us to be able to do that. John Deere approached us in 2013 to do the same thing, and because of the way we had set up the 8-week under the semester, it was really a dovetail fitting type thing for us to be able to welcome John Deere onto our campus with the 8-week process. So those programs work great. We have other programs that obviously work so much better under the semester system, the quarter system. We have a very strong line worker program. We were the first ones to have the line worker program in partnership with Georgia Power and different EMCs in Georgia. And that's an 8-week program. So we can run 2 classes of that per semester. Our commercial truck driving, it's already been mentioned that with the 8 weeks, we can run either 2 classes or 4 classes if we run night programs. So that makes so much more sense. Because we're one of only 2 that have on-campus housing, and of course I gestured to North Georgia because they also have on-campus housing, and both of us since 1948 and 1492. It's a move-in, move-out day. Under the quarter system, you have 4 of those. Under the semester, you have 3. Well, move-in, move-out is expensive. Our custodians and maintenance staff have to go in and deep clean, do repairs, paint where they can, whenever students move out before the next group of students move in, so which is usually a week or week and a half. Under the quarter system, that's 4 times a year. On the semester system, that's 3 times a year. So we save money as a college under the semester system. And everybody's already mentioned the strengthening the dual enrollment opportunities, but it bears repeating because dual enrollment is such a major part of what we do, and it would not be possible without this semester system. And as a former academic affairs VP and director of instruction, we used to, or we still do, we hire a lot of adjunct instructors. They're either full-time instructors at a university or at Department of Ed at K-12 systems. If they're under the semester and we want them to work for us, they're usually on vacation whenever we were on the quarter system because the schedules were so askew. Now that we switched over to the semester system, that's not a problem anymore, and we're able to work with those adjunct instructors as well. In closing, our mission is workforce education, and we cannot do the things that we do without flexibility. Industry and business works on a very, very fast time frame. and we've got to be able to turn on a dime. I'm glad Mr. Perrin went ahead and mentioned the 800-pound gorilla in the room. We were not real excited about going from quarter to semester. I was a new vice president of academic affairs in 2011, and it created a lot of work, obviously. And we felt like we were doing great things. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've been at South Georgia Tech 34 years. So 21 years of my career at South Georgia Tech has been under the quarter system. And I'm here to tell you that the last 13 years, I've seen so many more opportunities for our students because of the semester system. We are able to really turn on a dime a lot better under the semester system than we were under the quarter system, and because it facilitates so much versatility. So again, we appreciate what you do as legislators supporting us, and we hope that y'all will continue to support us, and we know that you will, in the ways that you've done, both with policy and resources, and most of all, you support us in your communities. And we hear it, we feel it, and we're glad to be part of the great state of Georgia. Any questions?
Please, Representative Chokas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President. I've been on that campus many, many times, and I've enjoyed it every time. A lot of discussion was talking about dual enrollment and how that has grown, and how that we see that as a future, as a way for us to bring more students so there won't be that gap. Would you please talk about the average age of the students at the technical college system, and how dual enrollment, and especially in our community, where your predecessor suggested when we built the new high school to build it across the street from South Georgia Tech. Could you talk a little bit about that, please?
Well, you know, the average age of our students, we have great resources in our knowledge management system. We call it KMS with TCSG. And they've built something for us called the President's Dashboard. We can go in there, we can just data mine and dig deep. And I was looking at our numbers last week for fall, and if I remember right, our average age student was 26, but that was with dual enrollment students, and about roughly 24% of our enrollment was dual enrollment students. If you took those 18-year-olds and less out, our average age goes up to 34, 35, which is phenomenal to me, because that's life-changing for adults to be able to come and get a technical education. For our dual enrollment students, our high school students, not just across the street, which we have a great relationship with Sumter County High School as well as the Ignite Career Academy across the street, but those other 6 counties that we mentioned, and our percentage of penetration for high school students is in the top 3 in the state. We're really proud of that. But it's because students recognize the need, and their parents recognize the need. There's a battleship that's been turning, not just in Georgia, but nationwide. And students are no longer afraid to enroll in a technical college because they see that it's a career path. That doesn't eliminate the university system opportunity, it just enhances it. And they can take classes from us. They can begin their career with us and then move on to the university, or if they choose to go on to work, they have those options. But it's really neat to see partnerships in like Marion County, like Taylor County, those that are not right in our back door, right in our front door, taking advantage of dual enrollment opportunities that we have in these rural counties that obviously you serve, and you're seeing it.
Any other questions? Dr. Wofford, I did want to mention, y'all are obviously doing something right down there, because the reason that we had to adjust the meeting was because we couldn't find a hotel room available the evening before within an hour's radius of your area. So some good stuff going on down there.
Dr. Michelle Johnson, president of Georgia Southwestern, and I are not the only 2 presidents in Sumter County. There's another president, Sunday down, and he draws a lot of attention, so I think he's having some kind of event this week.
Thank you, Dr. Watford. And again, our apologies for having to call an audible and move away. We hope to be able to visit sometime in the near future.
Look forward to having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe next is Dr. Heidi Popham, with the president of Georgia Northwestern. I pronounced your last name right?
You did.
Okay. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, and Chairman Blackman, thank you, and the committee, thank you for your support, your continued support. I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of information about GNTC and our technical college system. I have a couple of team members that are going to help as well. Dr. Elizabeth Anderson is our Vice President of Academic Affairs and Institutional Effectiveness, and Stuart Phillips is our Vice President of Student Affairs and Student Success. So we'll jump right in and talk about a little bit about GNTC and what we do. As the other presidents have done, just briefly, GNTC serves the 9 counties of Northwest Georgia. We go all the way up to Tennessee, all the way over to Alabama, and Murray County, Gordon County are furthest east that we go. You'll see that we have 6 campuses. Thank you. Lovely campuses. We really appreciate your support in our facilities that we have. But if you look at our service area overall, if you include our adult learning centers, our campuses, our aviation training center, our high school partners, our 2 mobile training labs that we have, Housing Authority, Department of Corrections, we actually have 44 addresses across Northwest Georgia, so quite the footprint in our area of the state. A little bit about our fall, our current enrollment. This was as of last Friday. As a couple of my colleagues have mentioned, we're in the registration process for our Term C, which will start on October the 14th. But our current enrollment as of last Friday was a little over 7,200 students. Our dual enrollment students is 3,029. First generation students, Representative Evans mentioned first generation. 51% of our students are first gen students. Our Hope Career Grant recipients, 1,385 students. And our part-time students, which is 75% of our student body, 5,459 students. And now what does that tell GNTC? Overall is we have to be flexible. We have to meet our students where they're at. We have to offer courses when they are available. Is that online, traditional, hybrid, a mixture of all of the above, day, evening, all the different varieties, is we have to be where our students need us to be and be flexible. And the semester system allows us the opportunity to do that. Some of the semester outcomes, and we have hit every one of them, I think, previous to me. Better alignment with scheduling with secondary and post-secondary partners. An increased opportunity to provide flexible terms within the semester framework. And something that we have recognized is some of our courses, say for instance, anatomy and physiology, very high competency, hands-on, can be a difficult course. All of our healthcare students are required to take it. Really truly needs 15 weeks of instruction. And so we're able to put that in that framework. Whereas we may have some courses like English 1011, or 1101, I'm sorry, and that's a prereq for some of our others, psychology, sociology. A student could come in the first part of the semester in Term B, 8 weeks, take English 1101, which is a prereq for some of our other courses, and be able to take that second course, psychology, in that same semester. So instead of having to spend all semester taking one English class and then spring semester taking the psychology, they've knocked both of those out in one semester. And so the parts of term gives us an opportunity to be able to do that. So I'm going to turn it over to Stuart and have him talk about dual enrollment.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I want to talk to you briefly about our story at GNTC regarding dual enrollment. Dr. Popham mentioned we have this fall record enrollment in dual enrollment for us, 3,029 students. At one time we were number 1, but Central Georgia has that honor now, so congratulations for having a very strong dual enrollment. We've had dual enrollment program around for a long time at GNTC, and we'll look here in a second to see a little historical data about dual enrollment. But where we are now, this fall we have students representing 37 high schools. Some of those are one-offs. We have maybe a student from one high school, but we do have partnerships with 22 area high schools within within our 9-county service area. So Dr. Papa mentioned a bunch of addresses that we serve. These are 22 of those addresses where we are on-site at these 22 high schools teaching dual enrollment classes. Our students also enroll in our campus courses as well as online classes, and we also serve a large population of homeschool students, and that's growing as well. And just a historical look about where we came from. Of course, we fall semester 2011 was our first fall semester, but fall quarter 2010, we thought we were doing great with 131 students. Man, we were busting at the seams with dual enrollment back then. But when we did transition to semesters, it really did open the doors, open the floodgates for our high school partners to start thinking about more ways that they could create opportunities for their students. So you can see we just have 5-year snapshots how our dual enrollment has grown. We did take the slight dip in fall 2020 with the House Bill 444 and COVID. Of course, some of those parameters needed to be put in place with House Bill 444. As my good friend Joe Eccles talks about, it was the Wild West where anybody could take any courses they wanted to. So some parameters had to be established to pare it back just a little bit. But high school partners are figuring it out, what's best for their school systems and what's best for their students. So we're proud to partner with all the school systems and the career academies. We're blessed with 8 career academies in our service area, where those career academies are really focusing on those technical programs of study that will lend more students to transition to the technical college upon graduation. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Anderson to talk about how we schedule some of these courses.
Good morning. I want to talk to you a little bit about the flexibility and the efficiencies that you've heard this morning. We at GNTC have 3 advertised parts of term. That is the full term, which is term A, and then the 2 mini terms that Dr. Popham referenced. However, in total, we have 42 parts of term, and under the semester system, it's fun. But it allows us, the majority of our high demand career programs, if not all, use parts of term. And that allows us to speed the time that the students get into the workforce and complete the program. 2 of the high demand career programs that I'll talk about is CDL, commercial truck driving. At GNTC, students that take the day cohort are in an 8-week program. So we do 2 cohorts of that. And then if you're in the evening cohort, you do 10 weeks. So we're able to complete 3 cohorts in fall and spring and 2 in the summer. Aviation maintenance, however, has 18 parts of term. It is a 2-year program, so the occupational courses are scheduled using those 18 parts of term. And the parts of term are determined by the number of contact hours that's required of those occupational courses. Something else that we've heard a lot about is efficiency. Scheduling efficiency and effectiveness is something that we struggled with at GNTC for a while. So us as a college invested in a software platform that allows us to do it better. What you're looking at here is the changes made to a schedule during a spring semester of 23. So the red are all the deletions, so removing courses. The blue is adding. Along the bottom is students enrolled in those courses. So what I want you to look at is there were changes being made to that schedule even when students were enrolled the entire semester. So that was very inefficient and not effective for the students. This, however, after using the platform, and the platform is Ad Astra, and Ad Astra provides us with data from various perspectives as well as historical data. And I will say this picture looks much better, but it's not just Ad Astra. It is a team approach. Everything we do at GNTC is a team. We have our academic advisors and our student success coaches, and our vice presidents, and even Dr. Popham attends our scheduling meetings. And we look at the data that Ad Astra provides us and ask our advisors and our student success coaches that are on the front lines with those students, is this what the student needs? So here you're going to notice after the students are registered and enrolled in the courses, there are very few, if any, changes made in the schedule, which makes it better for the students because GNTC becomes third priority. If you'll remember, Dr. Popham says 75% of our students are part-time. Their family and their jobs are going to come before a schedule for a program, even though they're doing it to better themselves and their family. So we have to meet our students where they are. The reason that it has over 1,000 additions here in the beginning, we built this schedule from scratch. The previous, we would roll it, which means every class that has been offered every spring just gets rolled over, just because that's what we've always done. Well, it wasn't working for us. So we scrapped that and built a schedule from scratch based on our historical data and feedback from our students. A couple of other things I do want to mention that are opportunities for students to speed their time to the workforce is prior learning assessment. We do a lot of that at GNTC. That allows a student who comes to us with extensive training, certifications, licensure, experience in industry, we're able to align that with the programmatic competencies and exempt them and give credit for classes that's required in that program. And just an example I always use, if a post-certified police officer comes to us and wants to do criminal justice associate degree program, then we're able to provide credit for many of those criminal justice courses based on his or her post-certification as an officer. We also have apprenticeships at GNTC. The majority of our apprenticeship students are in industrial systems, and they basically earn while they learn. They're employees at various manufacturing industries in our local communities, and they get the hands-on lab component part on the job while being paid, and then come to us part-time for the instruction. And I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Popham for the questions.
Again, thank you for your support, your continuous support in all that TCSG and GNTC is doing, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Representative Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for the presentation. As I've been listening to all the presentations today, the thing that keeps popping up in my mind is how wonderful all this sounds, how efficient it all sounds, what a great pathway to a career it is. But I wonder if we're doing all that we can do, and my question to you is, can you think of anything that the legislature could do to make sure that this message and these opportunities are known to more students and probably more parents, more college or high school counselors? Because it sort of feels like to me, if you know, you know, but how many people don't know, and what can we do to close that gap?
Yeah, I think it's just the continuous communication about who we are and what we do. The opportunities, I think they're becoming everyone's becoming more aware of the opportunities. I think we discussed last night, I believe our high school counselors and our partnerships with our high schools are really helping us to spread the news about the opportunities within the technical college system and the programs that we offer. I believe our Board of Regents partners are working hand in hand with us. We're working with Dalton State and Georgia Highlands in our service area. We're working on 3 different phases of articulation agreements. Any like program that we have within our service area of Northwest Georgia, our faculty are working to be able to do a true 2+2, so they graduate GNTC with an associate degree and can step right up into Georgia Highlands or Dalton State. I think it's that recognition and that partnership as we continue to tell the story about the successes and the opportunities. It's unfortunate that that it's been a while. We were founded in 1962, but I do believe that as Dr. Watford mentioned, the ship is turning. It's taken a little bit of time, but I think it's just continuing to tell the story. I think your support every session and throughout the year is phenomenal, and it just, I think, continues to bring attention to who we are and what we do.
Thank you.
there any other questions of Dr. Pop? Thank you very much for the presentation, and I appreciate you being here and all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just so used to this being automatic when we're in session and having committee meetings, there was a public sign-up sheet available. I don't know if there's anybody that signed up for that or if there's anybody here that would like to make public comment before we close out for today. I don't see anything. Absolutely, Commissioner, please do.
I sit here and try not to talk, so I apologize. It's really hard because I get so excited about this team in the room. But a couple of things that's brought up, we just really do appreciate. I think the question, Representative Evans, about awareness. I think that one of the key things that you guys have talked about today is that articulation or partnership between systems, all of them. And I think the more and more that we have that from a statewide approach, the more that our counselors in our high schools understand really beyond 12th grade, what does that mean for success for a student? And we're seeing that, but I think that's where we all can continue that campaign of whatever moves someone forward. We talked a lot about dual enrollment today. If you go back and look at the purpose of dual enrollment, it was really to close that gap of students who were not furthering their education and finding the gaps, whether it be a host of them, whether it would be that they just can't leave their community, don't think they can afford it, don't realize they're aware. And I think when you look at that presentation, the presentation day on dual enrollment, you almost have to go to the partnership on Georgia Match that we've had this year and just talk about that continued effort. So I believe you guys have done an incredible job helping bring about awareness, but I believe the more conducive we are for our student success and pathway success, the more that story gets out there. Part of what we talked about today was a lot of nimbleness related to the semester conversion and the ability to partner. And it was kind of mentioned, but I do think it was important. The chairman mentioned Dr. Allen's service on SACs. And I just want to make sure, and I think you guys know, but I just feel like I need to say it. I think part of that communication is also the academic or scholastic excellence that we have across all our systems, including TCSG. And part of that is represented in that accreditation. And just to reemphasize it, we got 2 other folks, 3 total in this room, that have or are serving on SACs. Dr. Daniel's currently serving in that role. Dr. Perrin has served in it in the past, and Dr. Allen. And, that's our commitment to you guys, but really to those future students that we're going to knock down every barrier we can find to get them to graduation into the workforce, because that's where that economic opportunity is. And we're doing that with some great partners, and we're doing it with excellence in all areas. And so as we chase that awareness campaign, it's really all 3 of those that we believe we're conquering, but we still have a long way to go. So thank you for always being our champion. All of you have. But I was telling Representative Evans, thank you for always being kind of on the forefront of the excellence of TCSG, and we appreciate that. And we believe that we're changing lives every day, and we can only do it with partners. Last thing I'll say, and I'll hush. I know I need to hush, but we're also holding ourselves accountable on those partnerships. Prior to the pandemic, we did not have articulation with our K-12 partners. And so I believe we're up to 21 or 22 articulations with our CTAE programs across K-12. And we're continuing to make sure that those students who are not in dual enrollment or who have not decided where they're going, but they're in a CTAE program with a program that we've all deemed as an appropriate pathway, that they can get credit with us before they ever get to us, and shorten that term as well. And so it really is an effort across all of our educational systems that you're seeing come to fruition, and that's going to continue to help with that awareness. Thank you, and I promise, Mr. Chairman, I won't interrupt again, but I appreciate it.
No, listen, Personally, I know I don't speak for anybody else on the committee, but I could continue to listen to each and every president that you have around the table. So I think this has been a fantastic listening session, just as our first one was in Statesboro from the university system. Got a lot of information to work through, a lot of good news, a lot of great news, and we appreciate y'all allowing us to intrude upon your president's meeting once again. And thank you for what you do and all you do across our state and for our state. Is there anybody else that has anything for the good of the order from the committee? I know we have a tentative date of October the 8th for our next meeting, which will include Georgia Military, which is on the quarter system, and the Department of Education in Millersville. I did talk to Dr. Manga, who mentioned that there are some conflicts there with USG at that next date. So kind of pay attention, and we'll make sure that we stay with those dates. But thank you to all the members. Thank you to the staff that had to come down and be a part of this. Thank you very much, all of you. And if there's nothing further, we stand adjourned. Thank you.